What's going on, people? So earlier in the year, I had my first half marathon, right? So I figure I'll sit down and talk about how that whole thing came to be, how that went, and all that good stuff, right? So because I say that this coming from somebody who hasn't really been running like a whole lot, real well, for a whole lot of time, I should say. At this point, it is now what, July 7th? Yeah. So at this point, it's been almost a year because I started in August, right? But at that point, the first one I did was March. So still kind of new to it, right? And before I go getting on into things or whatever, I'll talk about like whatever comes to mind over the next however many minutes this takes to do, right? But the thing is, like I just mentioned before, right? I am no like expert in this field or whatever, right? No authority on any sort of matter related to anything going on in this video. All I can sit here and do is just talk about my experiences, how things went for me and all that good stuff, based on, my opinions and perspectives of certain things or whatever. Just kind of how it went for me, right? So that's all I'm here to talk about. Not to like tell you guys or how to do anything like that. I'm just here doing this whole thing that I normally do, which is share my opinion in some sort of video, right? I feel like that's kind of one of those things that a lot of people know, right? Because I mean, let's be honest here, right? A large percent of the internet is based on opinion, right? Not so much on fact. And I just want to remind you, that's what's going on here, right? So that being that, let's go ahead and talk about some things, huh? So let's see, what was it? Let's back up to, we'll say like January-ish, right? So yeah, I think that was around then. So actually it was December because I was back in Iowa or something. So anyway, for me, right? I'm a Garmin guy. I use the Forerunner 965. It's pretty nice. It's been working out fine for me. One of the things that comes with the Garmin stuff is you have this little training thing, right? I forget what they call it, but you can go onto the Garmin application, whatever, look up upcoming races and tell it, hey, like I'm running this. I want to do either A, this specific pace, or B, finish within this specific time, right? And then it'll give you this little training thing to do over the next however long, gives you a little countdown and stuff. Every day you just look on there and says, hey, based on things, let's do this today. The next day it's like, okay, let's do this. And it gives you little trends and all that stuff. It's actually very cool and it's free. So there's that. Rana does a very similar thing, right? I can't speak on that, but I hear that it's good. But I went with the thing that was free because, I'm a little cheap sometimes. Anyway, so I set that thing up and it's giving me all these little things to do every day. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Ignored it completely for the first month or so, right? I was like, wow, that looks handy. Not doing it, but I like where your head's at, Garmin people. So anyways, I move on from that, right? Just kind of doing my normal thing. I was still out going and running and whatnot, right? Just not doing what they wanted me to do because sometimes it just didn't line up with what I wanted to do, right? But then as we got to about the 2 month mark, I'm like, okay, this thing's in like mid-March. I need to like start getting going, right? Because again, like I said, January is when this really started. So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to start listening to you, start doing things. And some of it did come with some challenges, right? My goal was to do 8:30 or 8. One of those. I think it was 8:30 was the time that I set, because I'm like, okay, that's 13 miles. Like, I don't know, like what's a decent time for this, So I figured 8:30 will just plug that in, and that's what my stuff's all built off of. So some days it's like, hey, go do 30 minutes at this pace. Other days it's like, hey, go do 50 minutes at this pace, right? There are the recovery run days where it's like, hey, go run super slow for 10 minutes. Those were the hardest ones, honestly. Because like it wanted me to do like a 10-minute pace for like 20 minutes or something. I was like, oh my God, I'm just going nowhere. I feel like I'm just walking, right? And there were some interval days in there, which those were the ones that got a little weird because a lot of this training was going on in the winter, right? And so when it's saying like, hey, go outside and like, or go out somewhere, whatever, just run, was it like, get like 6:45 for like a minute or two, get like 8 something for a minute or two, like, back and forth, this whole thing. I'm like, dude, like, no, right? Because there's snow out here for some reason. Like, I don't know what happened with that, but now there's snow. So then I tried to do it on the indoor track. Indoor tracks are god awful for that because they're so much smaller. At no point can you really pick up your pace. It just wasn't working out. So I did a lot of not doing stuff. And it sucks sometimes because, like, the little Garmin lady, like, when you're supposed to be doing like a pace-based thing, which is all of them, if you're supposed to do, if she says 8:30, you get like a 20-second range up and down, right? So if you're like at 9, she'll be like, oh, running too fast or running too slow, like, pick it up. If you're running at like 8, she'll say, hey, you're running too fast, slow it down, right? Yeah, and like on those interval training days, she was not okay with me. She was just reminding me how bad I was doing. But it's fine, we got over it. So either way, move through that, and the other thing is this, I'm still trying to like get my mind around the fact that, hey, I'm about to go out here and run like 13 miles, which if you had asked me this time last year, running a 5K, which is 3 miles, was like, that was a stretch, right? So even though other friends were, oh, you can do it, it's 13 miles, once you get going, it's fine. I was like, that's just the kind of thing you say to people just to make them do something just because you're doing it. I'm not falling for that. But eventually, I got my mind around some things. Okay, well, I've been doing like longer runs every now and then, right? So if I can do a faster pace on a pretty decent distance of like, say, 5 miles or something eventually, if I slow that down, I should be able to do like at least 10, right? Like hit 10. And at that point, I'm probably just stubborn enough not to stop. Right? And it should work out, right? So I'm going with that idea, right? Working through things. And I'm at the Running Etc. store one day, right? Which I've mentioned in many videos. I'm over there and I'm talking to Vince, and I'm like, hey man, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, well, you should consider doing the One City half marathon, because that's like 2 weeks before, and just jump in with our group and see how you do. And he's like, yeah, because the pace group that he was going to be running, like in charge of or whatever, was the 8:30 pacing group, which is like a 1:52 time. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, things like close to like 8:20 or something, but somewhere in there, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I jump in with him. I do that whole thing, run through it at that pace, and like the last 3 miles, I'm like, okay, like I've got a lot left in the tank, significantly more than I expected to. So I'm just gonna pick it up from here and see what I can do on my own, right? And from there, I think it was like about an average of like 7-minute pacing for miles 11, 12, and 13. So that worked out pretty good. And so then I'm like, okay, well, if that worked out that well, right? Maybe moving on to like the one that I've been actually training for, I could probably do like close to 8 or something. So I go with that, get out there for the Shamrock and all that stuff. The night before, we had the 8K, the day before we had the 8K. Did a 7-minute pace for the most part on that. It was like 7:05-ish, something around there, right? So that was like 5 miles. I was like, okay, cool. Because I didn't want to kill myself because I still got the 13 the next day. And then you come around to the next day, and I'm like, okay, this is what I've been working for, right? Tomorrow's going to be the day, 8-minute pace for the first 10, reevaluate once we get there, and see what happens, right? So I'm set, I'm up there early and all that good stuff, ready to rock, And then I'm like, you know what? Let me run to the bathroom real quick before we go to this thing, because, I have to go find the thing and all that stuff, get in place, and I've been there for a while. I'm like, let me just use the bathroom just so I don't have to go like during the run, because like I'm not stopping, right? It's not happening. I'll just power through it the same way I did on the One City, right? You point to these because I was wearing these for the One City. So I figure I'm gonna push on through it. But yeah, so I run to the bathroom, and as I'm stepping out, like I knew it was cutting it close. As I'm stepping out, I hear the gun go off, right? Meaning like, hey, it's time to go, right? And I'm like, great. Now I got to go and find this pace group. So I'm like running from the bathrooms, like down through the streets, And then, people are running like the running groups or whatever. Like the leaders are holding like the little stick that has like the time on it and stuff, like a little flag of sorts. So I'm like running through the streets, like I'll see one in the distance, like I run up to them, like what is that? Oh, that's not it. Then I run up, like keep looking, like find the next one, run up to them. So like I did all this like running through this race basically on the first stretch, whatever, just to find the group. And I'm looking for, was it 145? I think it was called, right? For like 8-minute pacing. Never really found it. Well, never found it at all, honestly. But I did find the 3:30 pace group, which is basically the same pace, but for a full marathon. So I'm like, well, I'll just slide on in here. So I just slid on in there like I've been there the whole time. A couple people that I knew were in the group already, so that was kind of cool, right? I didn't talk to anybody because like I'm running, so I just kind of like, I'm doing that, And so, held on to that for a while. Had a nice even 8s until like 10 and a half-ish, I think it was, And then it was like, once it was done like winding or whatever, I was like, okay, now I'm going to pick it up. So I said to the dude that was leading the pacing, like, hey man, you've been doing great, but I'm only here for the half. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to go faster now. Going out into the world on my own. He's like, all right, dude, best of luck to you. That's not exactly how that conversation went, but more or less the same. I actually ran into that dude a couple weeks ago at a different run group. He's like, hey dude, how'd you do that day? I'm like, I don't think I know you. But then we got there, like, because I don't always remember people. But anyway, so yeah, pick it up from there, move along, doing my probably about a 7-minute pace, I would assume. That sounds about right, but I honestly don't remember. Run through, I see like friends of mine at like running club alley where like the local run clubs all have little booths and tents and whatever, cheering on their friends. And I know people from a few of them, right? So that was cool. People shoot off the confetti and stuff. I'm like running, hey, look at that. That is festive, See some other friends, they're like yelling at me and all, and I yell some stuff into the camera, whatever it was I was saying, because that's just a thing that I do from time to time. Then I run on my way. Ended up finishing that whole thing at about, what time did I finish? 1:48, maybe? 1:48 sounds fair. Well, no, wait, no, it couldn't have been 1:48 because like the group thing was 1:45, so it was probably 1:43. I think 1:48 was the first one, like the one city. So I'm gonna say it was like 1:43. But either way, yeah. So I get through it and everything was good, man. I was like, okay, cool. I had plenty of energy when everything was left over, which kind of makes me like, should have just ran faster. I did run faster on the most recent half that I did, which was on Memorial Day weekend. Got a 7:30, 7:25 the whole time, so that was significantly better for a 1:36, 1:37, 1:37 sounds right. So yeah, worked out pretty good. One thing that I will add into this, right? The nutrition side of things and all that stuff, as far as like preparing for the run, I don't do that very well, right? So what I'm about to say is not advice. Believe me, it is just what I did because it's what works for me, right? So the day before I eat normal stuff, right? Just try to avoid anything like excessively fried or whatever, so it's not like all heavy in the stomach. Normal common sense type things. But then like the next day, like the morning of, yeah, I think I did my normal thing. Like I'll have like, those little Nutter Butters that they have like 4 packs or 4 cookies in a pack. I have like half the pack, eat those. And then going into as I get closer to the run time, because that'll be like earlier in the morning, like not long after I wake up. But like around the time when it's about like, go time, then I'll have half a pack of these little Stinger Energy Chew things, right? Because those work out pretty well. Because I don't want to have a whole lot going on in here. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as like drinking and stuff, I'll have a little bit of water in the morning, But there's a pretty good cutoff for me, like an hour before. And even then, I'm not drinking a whole lot. I just want something. I'll have relied on like everything I had the day before and the day before that, But the morning of, again, I want to have to like go pee and stuff, right? So I'll have a little bit like, between when I wake up and usually about say like the time I leave. And up until that, like if it's closer, I might have a little sip here and there, but not a whole lot. Because again, it's a whole mental thing. So overall, I'm not drinking a whole lot. I'm not eating a whole lot. And then when the run happens, I don't consume anything at all, right? That's just how I am. Like people, I tested out like some of those little gel things or whatever, and like I think I had some on me for like the one city thing just to see how that would work, right? If I would need it or whatever. But then as I was running, I was like, like I see people are using those. Like maybe I should use one now, but I don't feel like fumbling around with it either. So I'm just gonna ride this out. And because that went fine, I was like, oh, the next times that's just what I went with, And it worked out pretty well for me, right? The the other people that I know, like they keep a lot of stuff on them. Like they wear like the little flip belts and all that stuff. They pull out whatever they need when they need it. I just go out there and hope for the best, and it's been working out okay, right? I don't have any like lofty goals or anything. This is a hobby, right? Once you start trying to do too much, it can kind of take the fun out of things. So for right now, I'm getting by and I'm just having a good time with it. Even though like the times aren't always fun because of the weather or whatever. It's as fun as it can be, right? When you don't have all that extra layer of like really trying to like go out there and go all out, Because what do I need to do that for, I don't. So I don't. But anyway, so I think that covers everything. I'll gloss back over like the shoe situation in case anybody's curious, Like as far as what I wore and all that stuff. Normal compression pants, right? Real cheap on Amazon. Compressions with a Z. I wore that brand. And then as far as like for the one city, I wore these right here. And for the actual thing, the Shamrock run, I ran with the Vomero 18, which worked out very well. It wasn't like the speed shoe or whatever. Like, some people are thinking, oh, you're going to wear something fast? I'm like, I mean, Vomero 18s, they work out pretty well for me, but not like fast, So in case you're wondering what I wore on those things, that. And then for the one in May, I wore the Glycerin Max, Country Blue. So there you go. I think that covers everything. I feel like I talked like forever, so I'm going to say that it covered everything because, I talked forever. So that being that, if you have any questions, if you're still listening to this nonsense, go ahead and leave those down below and I'll get back to you. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I have a few more videos to do while I'm sitting here, so I'm going to do those. All right, later, people. One more thing real quick before I go, right? So I haven't seen any pictures yet. I'm sure they'll roll out, but if you happen to see any and it looks like I just like peed all over myself, that's not what happened, okay? So I was going, like they have like the water and all this stuff along the way. And the guy's like, hey, there's water over here. And I'm like, I'm going to work on my water grabbing skills because they're mostly terrible. So I go over there and I get it, and I'm like, okay, I got it, got the cup, got most of it still in there, right? So I go to drink it and I'm expecting like just water, and it hits my lips and it's like, there's some sort of taste to it. And before I could really register what it was, I like spit it out, right? But as I spit it out, I like run into what I'm spitting, so then it's just like all over me. And I'm like, well, this is not okay, so I'm just looking disgusting, right? So if you see any pictures in that era of this run, just know that that's what happened, which it might be just as embarrassing. I don't know.